15 people. I think. I don't know. I did, 2 seconds worth of reading this before I was just like, I forgot I don't give a shit.
Yeah. I think they were real to an extent, but like,
what do you mean? What do you mean real?
What is up, guys? It is Wednesday. It's time to break down another baseball slate. Myself and Josh Engleman are going to give you guys the rundown of everything. All we ask for you to do in return is to like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Once again, we're sponsored here by Owner's Box. If you guys have not taken advantage of the partnership we have with Owner's Box, what are you waiting for? Because it's the easiest way to get access to all of our football data. And by everything, I mean everything. Our projections, ownership projections. On top of that, though, our Sims tool, our contest generator. You build all your lineups on our site, and then you can also simulate them through the Sims tool. That's all included with our football package, and you're going to get 1 week of that for free when you sign up at Owner's Box using that link we have below. So take advantage of that offer. Josh, what's going on? How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. How are you? Long time no talk since, I guess, last Wednesday. I think it was last Wednesday. Or no, Thursday? Thursday we did live before lock. So, good. The NFL slate was fine. Basically broke even on Owner's Box. Shout out to the Sims tool for getting me to 10th, I guess. I can't complain too much. Running it back again this week. Ready to talk some baseball. These past 2 baseball slates have been just death sentences for me. So I'm hoping that today is a little bit different. Feel good. Like my getting ready to cheer for the Yankees again. Spoiler alert.
Well, there you go. We'll get more into that in a second. But yeah, so Owner's Box, because there was a point where you and I both had lineups in like the top 10 on Owner's Box, and they were very, very similar to each other. And yours ended up finishing a little higher than mine, but always good to take advantage of some overlay there. And then I did run pretty good on DraftKings. I had 1 live Millie Maker lineup and would have been in first at one point if Matthew Stafford had just completed a pass to Nakua, who was running open down the field, and Stafford just missed him. So at that point in time, I would have been in first in the Millie had he completed that pass, but was not to be because it's impossible sometimes to win those tournaments.
I believe I would have won Owner's Box if the final Tyreek Hill touchdown went to either Waddle or Mostert.
You are correct because your lineup had Tua, Waddle, Hill, and Mostert. So you had a 4-man Dolphin stack. And,
I didn't confirm that Waddle and Mostert weren't ahead of me, but it's 9 lineups. I'm going to assume they weren't, just because Waddle wasn't great.
I could confirm they weren't because I was also paying attention to all the different standings, looking everywhere. So. You would have passed those people had the touchdown pass been to Waddle or Mostert, especially because everybody had Tyreek Hill. So the touchdown pass to Tyreek Hill did nothing for any of us at the top of the standings who scored 1 million fantasy points. The only team or player that even came close to scoring as many fantasy points as Tyreek Hill on Sunday was the Dallas Cowboys chalky defense on Sunday Night Football.
So my wife was going up against that Cowboys defense Sunday night. She woke up Monday morning and I was like, have you looked yet? Because she was getting she was down. She was going up against Tyreek Hill as well. So her day was pretty much already over. But I was like, hey, by the way, don't even bother looking. whatever chance you thought getting Josh Allen for Monday Night Football, it is long gone.
Yeah. I mean, anybody who had so because I'm in like a couple of season long leagues now, and I'm fairly sure that Tyreek Hill and the Cowboys defense would have combined for more fantasy points than any of my teams scored the entire week.
Yep, she went up against both of them.
Oh, yep, that will not help for sure because they both scored 1 million fantasy points. But anyway, baseball.
Nobody gives a shit about my wife's fantasy league, even though I bring it up constantly.
It is probably something that I've heard you talk about once a week or so during football season for the last couple of years or whatever. But I do think it's cool that you built out all the. So for people who do not know, here's one thing I do think it's funny about Josh and shows how committed of a husband he is for his wife's fantasy league, which is just, like how much thought process is the majority of this league can do drafting. Josh has built her an automated tool to tell her who to select based on projections and who's already been drafted. The most overkill possible for what is it? Like a 10-woman fantasy league?
It is a 10-woman fantasy league. Nailed it. Yes, that's exactly what it is. Yeah, It's actually, I mean, I built this 10 years ago and it was pretty good then. I could probably soup it up a little bit now just because the level of knowledge that I have is very different in trying to program something like that. But it does a great job. Originally, it needed to exist because they got so drunk during the drafts that they had no mechanism of like keeping track and they didn't know who any of the players were. I was like, okay, I can handle that. Now it's become a bit more of a utility so that it can be used because they don't get as blackout drunk as they did 12 years ago or whatever. I mean, 12 years ago, like nobody made it to the end. It was a disaster. My house was wrecked. Now, like everybody's pretty professional. Sometimes there's kids there. Like it's a very different scene.
Baseball time. Let's start breaking it down. But I think where we have to start, Josh, you've already kind of tipped your hand that you're going to be pretty heavy on the Yankees and Red Sox game. But how concerned are you with the weather in that spot? Because 2 games ago it got canceled. Today there's some weather in the forecast. It's tough, right? None of us are professional weathermen. Even professional weathermen are not really professional weathermen. I've talked about it myself. I use this source called google.com. That's usually where I look up my different weather. But how much of an eye are you keeping on the weather? And is it impacting your decision-making in any way? Because it is kind of important when we're talking about, a 7-game slate here.
Right now, I'm not going to do anything about it. I'm going full bore into Red Sox Yankees. I think that the game will be okay. I'm hoping that they just delay the start and kick that down the road like an hour or so or an hour and a half, whatever they need, and then just start it and play it out and be good to go, which I think they could probably pull off. I'll be way more nervous if they try to start somehow, which I don't think they're going to try to do. I think they're going to have to push it a bit. I'm hoping we just get some sort of resolution in the next 40 minutes or so, and that pushes us forward. But for right now, they represent basically half of my exposure. So it's a pretty big swing game for me.
Yeah, it sucks. I have it in my player pool right now. I'm also very much ready to pull it. If you look at the weather report right now, it's going to rain. It's raining there right now, according to my weather source, Google. It's got a 100% chance of rain right now. And it looks like it's going to rain for about an hour and a half, 2 hours after the game is scheduled to start. This is one of these ones that's really dicey. It's one that really could go either way. I can't guarantee you guys it's going to play. I can't guarantee that it's going to be canceled. 2 days ago, I came on here very confidently and said, I'm taking the Yankees-Red Sox game out of my player pool. I think everybody should remove it. I don't have a real confidence stand on the weather like I did the other day. If you guys are totally risk adverse, I don't have an issue with taking it out of your player pool. If you're just hand building a lineup and you're like, I don't want to deal with any weather concerns, you could take this out of your player pool, and it's not the worst idea in the world. There's definitely some risk that exists as far as the weather goes. We'll see what we get in the next, hour or so while Josh and I are on the show, but it's risky for sure. I currently have a bunch of it in my lineups.
I really wish they didn't play tomorrow. If they didn't play tomorrow, I'd feel a lot better about them just waiting it out. But like conceivably, they could kick this to tomorrow and run out a doubleheader. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I mean, like the good thing is if they want to wait, it seems like they can wait. How long do they want to wait is a completely different question, though. I want that game, man. I've been rostering it so much that I feel like I need to get it paid off. Instead, it's going to be the exact opposite scenario. I'm going to play it. They're going to cancel that shit. And I thought it was bad when they just didn't play well the past 2 days. No. I'm going to get straight zeros and half of my shit.
There's a couple of different ways I'm thinking about doing it. One is just playing it as is, also we're going to be here on the show for the foreseeable time here where we could update you guys any changes we make. I could play it as is, which I have all my lineups run through our Sims tool, which has me getting to 26% Yankee stacks, 11% Red Sox stacks. So seems like you'd said it's like about half of your player exposure. Not all that different for me. Yankees are my most stacked team. The other thing I could do is I could remove it entirely, or as we get closer to lock, if I'm still not feeling great about it, I could just do a manual ROI boost and downgrade some of the stacks and individual players. So at least lower my exposure to some of those lineups. That's one way that I could use that function, which maybe might be something I opt to do if I'm really unsure about the situation later. But right now I'm just kind of playing it as is with all the data as is and just hoping the game plays. And we'll see how everything stands in a little bit. By the way, shout out to Chris Williams, who gifted out some of the YouTube memberships, 5 of them out there. So Chris, always do appreciate your support. If you guys have any questions for us in Discord also, at me, we could answer those over the course of the show. Let's start talking about some of the pitchers, Josh, where we got a little bit out ahead of ourselves by talking about the offense, but we kind of had to because it ties into the weather situation. The most popular pitcher on the slate is Hunter Brown, projected for nearly 50% ownership, 47.5% to be exact in our data. What are you doing with Hunter Brown at that number? Overweight, at the field, or underweight in tournaments?
Right at 80% right now. I had him earlier today too. It'll wiggle somewhere around there, but I can't get away from him. That $8,200 price tag is just not correct for what he needs to do today. I have him as the highest projected pitcher on the slate, just a hair above Zach Gallen. Whether that's right or wrong, he's still $1,600 cheaper than him too. So it's the A's on the opposite side. Am I a little nervous about the lefty power? Yeah, like Noda and Seth Brown, one of those guys probably homers today. I'd feel pretty good about it, but ultimately that run total for Oakland and the fact that it's just really difficult to get away from that price tag. You feel fantastic. Like you can put together Hunter Brown, Mike Clevenger today for, an average salary of 8K. That's pretty tasty.
Yeah, I'm looking through my lineups and I'm a little bit overweight to the field on Hunter Brown, but it's no kind of real crazy stance. It's hard to be too overweight to the field on somebody who's projected for nearly 50% ownership. But
yeah,
of my top 150 lineups, Hunter Brown does appear in 56.7% of them, making him the most rostered player across all my lineups, which I'm totally fine with that being the case. Pitching is not the best today. He's got a pretty good matchup. So I do think that he should have some sort of security to him. So Hunter Brown, who I felt multiple times this year where there's been slates like this where Hunter Brown's super popular and be like, hey, here's a safe guy. And then he ends up kind of shitting the bed. But I'm going back to Hunter Brown today. He's going to be my most rostered player on the slate. If we're looking at some of the other pitchers that we have at the high end, Josh, we have, let's see, I'll just sort by some of the salary here. We have Blake Snell at 10,100, Zach Gallen at 9,800. Those are the only two pitchers we have that are priced 9K or higher. Are you getting to either of the pay up options in any kind of meaningful way? Like I kind of consider Hunter Brown a pay up option because it's relative to the other pitchers, but we don't really have very many expensive pitchers.
I'm not really getting to Snell. Very difficult spot here against the Dodgers. No Will Smith in the lineup. So I think when I rerun this, Snell might look a little bit better. That's just a righty bat against him that he's not going to have to worry about. It's going to bring the talent level of the Dodgers down in general. So maybe I get that bumped up a little bit when I rerun. I'm getting to 40% Zach Gallen. I think he looks really good here in New York. I'm a guy that generally over projects the Mets, but 3.7 run implied total doesn't appear that the over projection of the Mets is affecting Zach Gallen in any way. So no issue whatsoever getting to Gallen. You want to talk pay up options that are in my list? The 3.5% owned Ryan Pepio is my fourth most exposed pitcher today. That's all happening.
Right. Well, so he's had.
I don't know. I don't know why either. I can't figure it out.
He's had some not terrible outings as of late. He's also, one thing that's nice about Pepio is earlier in the year, he was pretty restricted in terms of how deep they were allowing him to work into games. He pitched 7 innings his last time out, so at least that's an indication he's a little more stretched out. For me, I have Pepio in 5% of my lineup, so it's not like he's an outright fade, but he's not a core part of my build in any way. Seems for you that he is a little bit more important.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know why. I don't have anything. I can't justify it at all. I don't have him projected well. I have him significantly under-owned at 3.5%. And maybe that's like just simply the driving force, but terrible spot against the Pods, capable of giving up big power. He's been lucky as shit so far in the majors, but I don't know what is causing him to just be everywhere, but he is everywhere for me. I have 4 pitchers 30 to 40-ish% owned, and he is one of those 4. The other 3 are guys that are getting that kind of ownership. And somehow, like at first, the first time I saw his ownership, I was like, I guess Pepio is probably like, 7,400, and he's just showing up everywhere. I was like, oh no, he's the 3rd most expensive pitcher today against the Padres, who have Fernando Tatis, Juan Soto, Manny Machado in a 2-3-4, and yet Pepio's in a third of my lineups. He doesn't do anything of value. 7.3 Ks per 9. He just hasn't given up any hits. He's got a 150 BABIP in the 21 innings he's thrown so far. I guess the xFIP is good, but I don't know what to do here other than hope that maybe when I rerun this, I get a little less Pepio and a little more Blake Snell and feel better about it.
Yeah. And by the way, I don't have very much Blake Snell either. I have 7% of him. So he's somebody who I'm struggling to get to as well. And Pepio, also, like I said, very low amount of exposure to. But yeah, I agree with you. If you look at Pepio's numbers, yeah, the ERA, if you just look at the ERA, you'd be like, oh, cool. He's got a 0.86 ERA. Pretty fucking good. Yeah, it is, except it's only 21 innings. And his underlying numbers indicate just an absurd amount of luck. He's a 151 BABIP, a 94.8% strand rate. Like these are all things that are going to regress
Yep.
to some rate. And then also, I don't know that projection models really know what to do with them either, because if you look at the long-term projections from different sites, all over the place. Zips has Pepio with a 4.06 ERA as his fair talent level. The Bat, who's the lowest on him, has a 5.06 ERA for him as his fair talent level. And then you've got depth charts splitting the difference at 4.42 ERA. So nobody's expecting this guy to maintain a 0.86 ERA or anything along those lines. But and also his strikeout rate is way different across different projection sources, which does make him even trickier to figure out.
I don't like this, dude. I don't like it at all, man. It's just, I've never had a guy that is expensive show up like this for me that doesn't have any sort of like underlying skill set. I have him projected for just shy of 15 outs. It's not like I even gave him something crazy based on that last start where he went 7 innings. Like I don't even have him getting 5 innings.
Yeah, 26 years old, unranked prospect. So it's not like this is some guy who's like, 19, 20 years old. Like, sure, he found success in the minor leagues when he was like way too old for the level he was in. It's like, oh, cool. Like he was good as a 25-year-old in the minor leagues, which is also not all that telling. But, who knows? We've seen the Dodgers do this with guys like Tony Gonsolin also, where they just continually kind of pitch above their heads, end up being fantasy viable. But I'm not going to be playing Ryan Pepio today. The pay up option that I am getting to, who is not Hunter Brown, is going to be Zach Gallen, who also has had some of his struggles as of late. Matchup against the Mets, it's in New York, so it's at Citi Field, pitcher-friendly park. And then also you got a pitcher in Zach Gallen, who, at least relative to all the other pitching options on the slate, he is the most talented pitcher. Short of Zach Gallen, I should say. Short of Zach Gallen, short of Blake Snell, is the, I did not explain that properly. Zach Gallen is the second best overall pitcher on the slate behind Blake Snell. And that kind of matters to some extent today because the pitching options are just kind of weak. So I've got Zach Gallen right now as my second most rostered pitcher. Is that anything you have any kind of issue with? Who else are you getting to behind Hunter Brown and Pepio?
So it's 40. I have 43% Brown for right now, 40% Gallen, 32% Gallen, or 32% Pepio, 32% Clevenger. So those 4 guys, Gallen, Pepio, Brown, and Clevenger, are making up 150 of my 200% ownership at pitcher. The rest is just sort of scattered across. So those 4 guys are everything for me. I think the big reason that I'm getting to Pepio is that there's 22% ownership going to Yusei Kikuchi, and I don't think the gap between Kikuchi and Pepio should be 22 to 4.
Yeah, no, I think that's a reasonable way to look at it. I do have some, let me look at my exposures here. The spots where I am differentiating, I have to remove some of these dumb relievers.
I'm going to have a great night. I can already see this coming, and I'm going to stay up to watch Pepio start, and he is going to get just straight blasted. I've never been more confident of something.
So this is going to be a pain in the ass because the contrarian pitcher that I have the most of today relative to ownership right now is Tanner Houck. So once again, dealing with the stupid rain situation, the Yankees are my most stacked offense overall. But at the same time, too, this is an offense that has a lot of unknowns. And even the good hitters the Yankees have, like Aaron Judge, for instance, very strikeout prone. Tanner Houck, very inconsistent in his own right. I really hope this game plays. I think it's a great GPP spot on both sides of it. Tanner Houck, super cheap, $6,800. We have him projected for 13% ownership. I think he's a source of salary savings with upside. But once again, it's just we're at the whim of whatever the hell the rain decides to do.
Interesting that you're getting to Houck when you're on the Yankees. I'm doing the same thing, but with a very different team. I've got a ton of the Royals. Well, maybe not a ton, but I've got a lot of the Royals, but I also am over the field on Mike Clevenger. So we're sort of doing similar things with a different guy.
Yeah, and actually, that might be the same for me. Let me see. What is my exposure to Yeah, I have like 20% of Clevenger right now, and the Royals are my second most stacked offense behind the Yankees.
Okay. Yeah, it's Yankees, Red Sox, Royals for me, top three.
I've actually found that happens with me a lot with the Royals in like the second half of the year because their offense sucks, but it's kind of good for fantasy purposes because they're
Yeah.
stolen bases, there's power in it. So when this is a team that doesn't go well, they just get shut out and they strike out a lot. But if they put up any kind of runs on the board, they end up scoring a ton. Also, something that I think matters at least a little bit for this, the bullpens in this game are totally depleted. The
Good.
way that game played out yesterday, the White Sox were down. I want to say it was 9-0 in the second inning. They came back to tie it up in the fifth inning. And then you just said all the starters were out of the game and team just had to run their bullpens into the ground. So if any of the starters struggle in that White Sox Royals game, do not be surprised if we see position player pitching at the later stages of the game.
Yeah, good. I hope that happens, but I hope that position player is pitching for the White Sox.
And the other part of it too is not only did they have to run their bullpens into the ground yesterday, Josh, they played a doubleheader. So that's like a lot of things that are going on here where we have the White Sox ended up having used, and the second half of a doubleheader, the White Sox used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pitchers. The White Sox used as part of a doubleheader yesterday, and the Royals used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pitchers. So this is going to be a game where, it's the game that's most likely to have position player pitching at some point.
It's the problem is now that I see it, 11% aggregate ownership to the White Sox. I have 0 stacks. I know who's going to end up throwing out a position player to pitch, but it's probably coming from the Royals side, and I assume the White Sox go crazy.
And we should quickly touch on the FanDuel slate. I hate when this happens where the slates have different start times, but we do have FanDuel is locking at 6:35 Eastern time as opposed to the DraftKings slate start. So I'm going to pull up some of the pitchers here for FanDuel as well. We can go through if there's anything, really, really significantly different about the FanDuel slate as compared to the DraftKings slate. And I mean, the thing that just overall is going to stand the most is that you have to deal with like Spencer Strider being on the early slate, which obviously makes a whole big difference. He's not the most popular pitcher of the day. That is still going to be Hunter Brown. I actually think that Strider is probably going a little bit underowned for the FanDuel slate because Strider is a lot of strikeout upside. I know he's had some blow up starts as of late. Not the ideal matchup on the road against Philly. But anytime you have a slate where Spencer Strider is not the most popular pitcher, which is the case, he's 11,800 on FanDuel, which by Strider standards is a little bit depressed of a price tag. I actually like Strider a whole bunch in tournaments. Is there anything else that you see, Josh, that's maybe different about the FanDuel slate than the DK slate?
That would require me to know anything about the FanDuel slate. So I'm going to go ahead and say you should probably play Spencer Strider just based on what I'm seeing here. Hunter Brown looking like he's the most popular guy. Zach Gallen probably going underrepresented just from an ownership perspective for that trio. But from a context perspective, I have not looked at FanDuel at all. And I honestly didn't know that they were including I assume they're not including the Dodgers pod. They actually probably made a better slate today than DraftKings. If this were just the 6 and 7 o'clock games, that would be awesome on DK. Yeah. Instead, it's all these 7 o'clock games and then an island 10 o'clock game to really just twist the knife a little bit and just let you wait for it. This would have been way better if you just had the 6:30 to 7:40 start.
Yeah, it's I do like the overall setup of the FanDuel slate better than the DraftKings slate. Other than that, I love the if I didn't have to talk about like FanDuel and DraftKings on these shows, I would never look at FanDuel for baseball. I play it on occasion. I really like the DraftKings baseball product way more than the FanDuel ones, but I do some prep for it only for the purposes of this show, because if it was not for that, I would have no interest in looking at FanDuel.
See, that's your first mistake. Nobody gives a shit about FanDuel right now, as evidenced by the Contenders videos views. So I didn't prepare it because no one seems to care to watch it.
I know there's a few people out there. Try to give them what they want there.
That's your mistake.
From Chris Williams. Great show like always, guys. And Josh, your take nearly had me win again last night with the same team and same pitcher in the Mariners. And woo. Would you rather take Garrett or Ray on the DK Turbo slate? So we've got Garrett or Ray. Who do you view as the better pitching option? Let me look at the ownership.
It's got to be Braxton Garrett, right?
Let's see. So the DK Turbo slate, there are so many different slates.
I don't even know what games this would be. Is
All
it
right.
just the 740 games?
So yeah, it's just the 740 game. So the pitching options are Clevenger. I mean, this is terrible.
I mean, like I wouldn't play. I wouldn't know who I would play whoever showed up.
It's so for here's what you got. You've got Clevenger, you've got Garrett, and then you've got Ray and Marsh, who are going to be like the long relievers, basically.
It would go Clevenger, Garrett, Ray, Marsh.
I can get behind that. I'm always going to play.
Clevenger is clearly one, and I think Alec Marsh is pretty clearly four. But I don't like you do whatever. It's a 2-game slate. I don't. That's just what like there's no. I can't give analysis like that. I can tell you like how frequently I think these guys are going to hit whatever salary tier and or whatever points tier and those sorts of rates. But when it comes to a 2-game slate, like you're probably winning by having bats facing your own pitcher, and it's just that's not a slate where I'm going to be able to pull any sort of real life analysis. I think Mike Clevenger is unequivocally the number one pitcher in that group of 4. That would be my priority. And that is not a fun thing to say considering he's Mike Clevenger. And because of how much Royals I
mean,
have.
the pitching options all suck. It's not like you've got anybody to pick who's any decent on that slate. I'll go Garrett over Ray as well, though.
Yeah.
Let's go and look at the cheap pitching for today. So if we start to look at, like real punt options here, Josh, is there anybody at like a cheap price with low ownership or maybe just a cheap price in general that you think looks like a good option to go to in tournaments?
Not really today. Normally I end up with like a chunk of one of these goons at the bottom, but I don't really have it. Like I've got 11% of Tanner Houck, but he's 15% owned. So it's not like I'm saying anything that anybody already has. I don't have Ray. I don't have Marsh. I have 3% Blackburn. I have 2% Clark Schmidt. Like those that's not enough of any of these guys. I'm under on Joey Lucchesi. I kind of just have all of my exposure going to those other 4 guys. And then whatever else for that extra 50% of everything I need, it's just kind of just picking one more dude and mixing and matching.
Yeah. I don't have an issue with that. I mean, I'm kind of at the low end. The guy I have the most of, I mentioned before, is Tanner Houck. But then beyond that, it's like I have some of Braxton Garrett. I have some of Lucchesi. I have some of Clark Schmidt. But like it's really mixing and matching for me. I don't have like one guy that I even feel, all that great about on the low end. So I think it makes most sense to kind of mix and match some of these guys. Colin Ray at 6,000, I think is a serviceable option as well. He is the guy below Tanner Houck that I have the most exposure to. And if we get into a situation where like I still feel crappy about the weather 20 minutes from now and I just downgrade that game, that will probably make Colin Ray my most rostered cheap option here.
Okay.
I hate some of these guys, especially at this point in the season where we're rostering some of these long relievers, and then we find out that like, hey, we're in the 3rd inning, and they just never check into the game. I've been burned by that many times over the last couple of years.
It's so much fun when it happens. You feel so great about yourself. I know personally, I love when the pitcher that I play in 20% of my lineups decides to just have a coffee in the bullpen.
Yeah, but Sean Manaea, I remember there's been slates where we've gotten asked questions. I'm pretty sure from Chris, who's left a super chat, and he's asked us like, hey, what do you guys think of Sean Manaea on the night slate? Where like he's been expected to be the long reliever. He'll be projected for like 20% ownership, and then he just never enters the game.
Yeah, it's so frustrating.
Red Sox Yankees officially is going to be starting in a weather delay.
Nice. That's good. Like you'd rather know that now for sure.
Is this going to change your exposure at all?
No.
All right.
I'd have been way more likely to pull it if we didn't have that information. Now, if they just don't play, then that sucks. But did they announce a planned start time?
They did not. They just said it's going to be in a rain delay.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna wait it out at least, for another 20 minutes and see if we hear anything different.
It would be really great if we heard like 8 p.m. start time, 8:30 p.m. start time, because then we know like, oh, they're willing to sit around for the next hour and a half.
Yes.
Yeah. But we will.
Oh God, I legit don't enjoy my hitting any of my exposures.
So we have a question in Discord here from Captain Akella, and we'll answer this and any other questions we get in Discord. And then Jordan, we'll look at the lineup generator, see what the lineup generator is giving us. But first, Captain Akella is saying he missed me yesterday. Thank you. I appreciate that. And then he wants to know, how are we doing a single entry on DK today? So I can tell you right now, my single entry stack would be the Yankees.
I assume I would be getting to the Yankees there. Yankees or Boston, one of those two would be what would sort to the top for me if I had to guess. I just reran everything with that new Dodgers lineup. I want to see actually if I have more Snell now. And the answer is I do. So I went from 8% Snell to 15, and it dropped my Pepio down to 29. So exactly the way that I expected it to. Will Smith came out of that lineup. The Dodgers lineup just in general looks a lot worse, having Austin Barnes instead of Will Smith. Chris Taylor hitting third instead of Will Smith. Blake Snell, now for me, a lot more interesting than he was before. Maybe I get a little bit more on an ownership run. Like I'll run this again, hopefully whenever the Padres lineup comes in, if it comes in. And but for right now, I feel pretty good about it.
Yeah, definitely waiting on the we have every lineup but the Padres right now. And good chance we won't get till after lock. Same thing yesterday. We didn't get the Padres lineup until pretty late. For Capanicella, he said, how am I doing single entry for DK tonight? Let's do this a couple different ways, Josh. Let's say our favorite stack for single entry, and then what our stack would be if we take the Yankees Red Sox out. So we give him a couple different options in the event that either news breaks 10 minutes from now, the game's canceled, or, maybe he just wants to be risk adverse. So as of right now, I would say the Yankees, but if we have to give him a stack to play in single entry that isn't the Yankees or Red Sox, which way would you be most apt to go?
Kansas City.
By default, my answer is going to be Kansas City as well, because it's the team I have the second most exposure to. They don't have a crazy amount of ownership. In general, there's no insane amount of ownership today. There's two teams projected for double-digit ownership. We've got both the Astros and the White Sox, 12% aggregate ownership, which is, somewhat significant on a 7-game slate, but this is a pretty flat slate where maybe ownership becomes slightly less of a consideration for other ones, just because we don't have a Coors Field game that's going to be like 35-40% owned in single entry. So same page, Yankees. If you don't want to deal with the weather, then I think that the Royals make for the next best option. As far as pitchers go, I am most apt to go to Hunter Brown and Zach Gallen in single entry.
Yeah, my goal would be Gallen Brown. Clearly, I wouldn't be averse to going to Pepio. I think he would be a guy that would show up as a way for me to be a little bit more different. Pepio would allow me to eat like a chalkier stack. But my expectation would be Gallen Brown.
All right. And as far as other questions, nothing else right now in Discord, but you guys want to help us, or if you guys want help from us in any way, just add me in Discord like Cap and Nicola did, and we could answer that question. Let's look at some lineups now, Jordan. Pull up the lineup generator. And if you guys haven't signed up for the lineup generator, this is the easiest way for startup players in DFS or in the MLB world to get your feet in the water with everything that is to do with MLB DFS, because this tool is just going to build good lineups for you. Plus EV lineups that we've projected to do well based on different simulations we have at stochastic.com. Got a pool of them in here. You select a couple of different settings, and it's going to give you lineups that we expect to perform well. And you get access to all of it when you sign up using the link below for less than $10. But let's go ahead and start with DraftKings here, Jordan. We'll go all stack types, and let's go balanced. Let's try balanced. The 7-game slate, there's no amount of real crazy chalk. So we'll go
it's really flat today.
Yeah, we've got only 7-game slate. Hunter Brown's the only pitcher projected for north of 30% ownership, unless there's been an ownership update in the last couple of minutes that I didn't see. And then as far as stacks go, like I said before, there's only 2 teams projected for more than 10% ownership, and it's barely over. It's not like we're getting any kind of real substantial chalk here. And if you look at the way our top stacks tool is building out lineups, we got 4 teams that we're getting a good amount of exposure to. It's the Red Sox, the Astros, the White Sox, and the Yankees. Doesn't that surprise you, Josh?
Nothing surprises me anymore, if I'm being honest. I just feel like I see, like, now that we've taken this like extra step up, I'm never surprised when I like to see certain teams climb to the top. But like I expected to see the Yankees and Red Sox there because I think they're like the best stacks you can get to. Houston's upside is massive. I don't have the White Sox today. It's probably my biggest fade, but I understand why that's happening and what's going on here. Their run total looks really nice. They grade out really well. They're incredibly cheap. It's Lou Bob at 5,600, and then it's just a sea of 3K guys and 2K guys. So I understand why the White Sox are showing up. They are, to me, the easiest team to get away from, but on paper, they should be owned.
Yeah, I'm looking at my lineups right now. And once again, we found this a lot on some of the shows we've done together. I have 3% of the White Sox as a stack. So it's not like I have 0% of them, but I'm well underweight to the field on the White Sox. As far as these other teams go, the Astros, I have, where's Houston? Why can I not find them here? So Houston, I'm not all that much different from the field on. Boston, I am fairly heavy on. I have 11.5% exposure to the Red Sox, and then I'm at 27% Yankees now. So Yankees, my most stacked team on the slate. The one thing that's different about my lineups relative to this is I also have right around 20% exposure to the Royals. So a little bit heavier on the Royals than what our lineup generator is here.
Okay. I mean, you're basically just reading off all of my stuff.
Well, there we go. We got similar rooting interests.
27% Yankees, 22% Red Sox. I'm a little lighter on the Royals now than I was prior to my final rerun. I don't really know what's causing that, but we'll see. I just grabbed our most recent ownership update. I'm going to give everything another refresh while we're here.
All right, Jordan, let's look at the individual players. I want to see some of the pitchers we ended up getting to. So as far as pitcher, all of the Hunter Brown, he's in 92% of these lineups. And if you guys are only playing 10, 20 lineups, I don't have an issue taking a stand on Hunter Brown and just throwing him into the majority of those lineups. We're getting to a bunch of Yusei Kikuchi here. We did end up getting to Blake Snell, 29% in these lineups. So Snell is a contrarian pitching option. It does seem like the lineup generator likes getting there.
I didn't want to get to too much Snell because there's so much Ryan Pepio to have.
Yeah, I mean, why play Blake Snell? They're going to be 1-2 in the Cy Young race in all likelihood this year.
Tomato.
I wonder what those odds are right now. Pulling it up.
Of Ryan Pepio to win the Cy Young. Pretty long.
Yeah. Think plus 300 maybe?
Maybe.
I wonder, do you think he's going to be listed?
Ryan Pepio? No.
So I do notice at the end of the year, FanDuel and DraftKings just leave bad lines up for players for people to bet because there's no way of them winning. So it's just like extra handle for them. But they might have taken those goofballs down at this point. As far as hitter exposures, we're getting the most of Rafael Devers here, followed by Aaron Judge, Luis Robert, Jose Altuve there, Andrew Benintendi. So even though our stacks are pretty concentrated, the players we're getting to in those stacks are a little bit spread out where we have different exposures to, like, we only have 3 hitters here north of 30% owned, even though it's only 20 lineups. So we definitely are getting a little bit spread out here at offense. One other thing too, Josh, with the weather, do you think we're going to end up seeing the Yankees and Red Sox game now get really under-owned with the fact that the game is starting in a rain delay?
Yeah, I hope so. Well, I hope it's under-owned and it plays. I'm getting the same DMs from Adam, about this. He's getting to them too. He said, I'm probably going to just hope it plays. So we're on the same page there. But the most recent message he said was, this sucks.
I think I'm going to ride with you guys, particularly because of the idea that I really do think now that everybody knows the game is in a rain delay, I think the ownership is going to come in quite a bit lower than what it's projected to be. It's really hard to really figure out what these situations are because there's going to be a human element to it. Yeah. But my gut reaction, this is always just remove the game from my player pool. When I have that feeling, it always makes me think like, oh, the field is probably going to be doing that too.
Part of me wants to just reduce the amount that I'm going to have by a little bit, like make my lineups as if everything is right, reduce that a little bit further to take into account that they're less owned, get a little bit more of somebody else because I know that I'm already making up that gap. But I don't know. I hate it all so much. When I look at that weather report, when I look at the radar and stuff, it just feels like if you're willing to wait an hour and a half to see where you're at that point, like I think they're going to have a window to just play the game like the moment it slows down, because it's not set to like pick up back in some aggressive way. The moment it starts to let up, it's not coming back. I don't think. I'm no weatherman. I didn't go to college for 7 years like Jordan Klein.
Yeah, Jordan went to college for 7 years to be a history major, Jordan? Jordan, what was your major? No, I'm curious what your major is. Oh, you know what? I actually did know that because we've talked about it before. So Jordan Klein, sports management major, took him 7 years to get to college to figure out how to grow grass or whatever it is that he took classes on in college.
Going to be the president of basketball operations at a middle school.
Oh, that would be quite the promotion for him.
Yeah, that's true. It's true.
Let's build some FanDuel lineups now. Oh, I guess never mind. FanDuel lineups. I mean, we might as well because we're here, but I mean, the FanDuel slate has just locked. But let's see what ends up popping up.
Neil said, how did I not know this about JDK? Do we abbreviate Jordan's name like that? Because that's some serial killer shit. Calling people by their 3 initials is very, very serial killery, unless it's JF, unless you're a Kennedy.
Which Jordan? Well, could we say the K stands for Kennedy?
Sure.
Jordan Don Kennedy? Why not?
Sure. I like it.
Do all stack types, Jordan. We'll do balanced again and see what ends up popping up on FanDuel. The slate did just lock, but if you guys want to make some alterations, maybe make some swaps to your lineups, we'll really quickly look here at what we ended up getting to the most of for FanDuel purposes. A lot of Pirates on FanDuel. Getting to a lot of Pirates. Yeah, about half our lineups are Pirates here. 30% Astros, a bunch of White Sox. Still getting to the Red Sox and the Orioles there, but yeah, primarily getting to Pirate stacks, which the Pirates are. Let's see. Let's look at the top stacks tool.
That's a lot of Pirates.
It is a lot of Pirates.
I don't have any on DK today.
Yeah, so they actually on FanDuel, they are the second most stacked team, the Pittsburgh Pirates. On DraftKings, the reason you're not getting to them is because they're not on the slate, but it's one of these games that's added to the FanDuel slate. So a little bit of a different dynamic. They're getting to lots of Pirates. If we look at the player exposures, we ended up getting to Strider, the most in pitcher, which kind of is in line with what my thinking was before. If you get Strider, it's somewhat of reduced ownership, something to take advantage of because of his strikeout upside. Lots of Pirates there. Ji-Hwan Bae, Jack Sawinski, Brian Reynolds, Ke'Bryan Hayes, our 4 most rostered Pirates. Let's see what other pitchers we got. So if we keep scrolling down, Jordan.
By the way, I'm getting to more Red Sox than Yankees now. Just putting that out there for everybody.
What do you think caused that change?
I grabbed the updated lines. I don't know if it just moved a little bit, salary, little things. I'm not entirely sure. Like, there's still 1 and 2, 20% of them both, but it's sort of like flip-flopped in priority.
Yeah, I'll run I'm pretty sure I'm going to be getting to more Yankees than Red Sox, but I'll run lineups one more time as we get closer to lock to account for the latest ownership. But pretty sure that I'm going to be getting to more Yankees. Getting to 23% Judge here. What are the other pitchers, Jordan? Just keep scrolling down. Past Hunter Brown, past Strider. The other pitcher we got to, there's Zach Gallen. So nothing real crazy there. And then a little bit of Kyle Gibson there at the end. So if you guys are looking to make any alterations to your FanDuel lineups, this is who the lineup generator is spitting out as some of the best options there. And if you guys want to sign up for the lineup generator, the easiest way to make lineups anywhere in the industry, sign up using that link below, get access for less than $10. Stacks time. Time to talk about stacks, Josh.
Let's do it.
We've talked about, but if anybody is joining us just now, we mentioned a few times, yes, there is dicey weather in the New York Red Sox game. I'm playing it. Josh is playing it. Josh is messaging with Adam. Adam's going to be playing it as well. It's risky. I don't want to tell you guys that it isn't because that would be incorrect, but I'm okay taking on that risk for this day because this isn't like 2 days ago when I was doing the show and I'd said that I was super confident the Yankees Red Sox game was going to be canceled. That game had like an 80% chance of rain until like 10 p.m. Eastern time or something like that. Today, it looks like it's more likely going to rain for like an hour and a half or so, maybe 2 hours. And then it's good to play the rest of the night. So I'm sticking with it.
We got the Padres lineup 4 minutes ago.
Got Ha-Seong Kim back. All right. So we have Campusano batting 4th. So no Bogarts.
Okay. So obviously I'm rerunning everything that I have, but yeah. And by the way, Will Smith came out. That Snell ownership now up to 20%. Not for me, but for the public. So Snell's up to 20, Gallen to 30. Oddly enough, no steam for Ryan Pepio yet.
But maybe that's because the field didn't realize that Xander Bogaerts is going to be out today.
I don't think he's going to have the same sort of weight in this scenario.
Ha-Seong Kim, Fernando Tatis, Juan Soto, Campusano, Profar, Cooper, Grisham, Batten, and then Rosario. It is a pretty weak end of the lineup here for the Padres. You think this might push your Pepio exposure up?
I hope so. Pepio season has returned, baby. We're getting into it today. I'm rerunning everything now, so I'll know in a couple minutes. But if I get to more Pepio, I can't be mad about it. He's a legend in the streets of DFS.
Like I said, neck and neck with Blake Snell for the Cy Young this year. And many people have been saying that this pitching matchup between Pepio and between Blake Snell might even decide who wins the Cy Young this year, Josh. Yes. I know Blake Snell's been decent in the second half of the year, but you've got the totally not luck-driven 0.8 ERA or whatever it is for Ryan Pepio that's going on right now.
This is going to be a great, great time. All right, lineups are generated. Good start there. Lineups are loaded. Sim is running. So I'll have an answer in like 3 minutes.
And I don't even know how I didn't mention this. Yeah, there's no Manny Machado or Xander Bogaerts in the Padres. Okay. It's a very shitty lineup they're throwing out. Maybe you just knew
yeah, I was clairvoyant. Now everybody's going to be on Pepio, man. I was on Pepio before it was cool.
So it is going to make me get to more Pepio than I had before.
This nonsense. I'm steaming him on the show the whole time, man. Well, now I'm fading him.
Let's see. If I take them out. Yeah, like I'm not going to be crazy high on Pepio. I'm positive you're going to end up with more of them than me, but I'm probably going to have double-digit exposure to Pepio now, which I certainly didn't before.
It's exciting, right? You're getting to the best play of the day?
No, but I mean, the rest of the pitching kind of sucks anyway.
Sure does. Sure does.
So walking through the stacks, Josh, starting with some of the most popular teams. Now, I also am going to refresh our ownership here to see what has changed with it, if anything, over the last couple of minutes, which it is not. Houston Astros, Chicago White Sox, both projected for 12% ownership. If we're being more specific, 12.1% ownership as a team for the Astros, 11.9% for the White Sox. I'm underweight to both of these teams, Josh, as stacks. Is it the same for you?
Previously, I was massively underweight to the White Sox. Can you hit me with the other name? Was that Astros?
Yeah, Astros 12.1% against Paul Blackburn.
Yeah, I don't have stacks of the Astros or the White Sox. I have 3% of the White Sox and 4% of the Astros. So that they are the two highest owned teams, and they are two teams that I am just simply not really getting to. So I'm fading those bats pretty aggressively today. So I'm sure it's a chalk day.
So I've got Machado out of my stuff now. I've got Xander out. And
I'm fading the chalk, so I assume Jesse's Twitter will be a real treat.
Yeah, you'll have the same rooting interest. If you've had the same rooting interest as Jesse, based on some of Jesse's tweets, it probably hasn't gone well for you as of late. Sorry, Jesse.
Maybe as of late, but it has gone well for me.
Other stacks here. We've got the Yankees, the Red Sox. By the way, still projected to be the third and fourth most popular offense on the entire slate. I'm fairly confident they're going to come with less ownership than what we have projected.
I agree. If we have them in there around 9% aggregate, like even just saying 8% is a pretty sizable percentage drop for the team. It won't look like that, but we're talking about a 10 to 12% reduction in their overall ownership. That seems about right to me. Probably allows me to not have 25% of them.
And then, so Royals, by the way, still popping up as my second most rostered offense. Has that changed for you, Josh? Or are the Royals your also team you're getting to a good amount of?
I still have a couple chunks left of my sim to go, but it seems like it's still going to be the same four teams. Heavy Red Sox and Yankees. Diamondbacks and Royals as my secondary main teams. And then like a small amount of the Blue Jays have crept in a little bit. I'm going to see where that actually ends up once this final crunch is done running here.
I think this is going to be the final version of my lineups, Josh. I have 3 teams that I have double-digit exposure to. It is the Yankees, the Royals, and the Red Sox.
I mean, I'm going to be real close to that.
Contrarian team. I have a very bizarre team. I'm getting the fourth most exposure to. Care to guess? It is not the Mets.
Is it the Dodgers? No, you wouldn't say it like that. It can't be the Dodgers because you wouldn't. The A's?
It is the A's.
Yeah.
And I think that, this is the same for like when Verlander started against the A's. Verlander was my most rostered pitcher, but I had the A's also as like my 3rd or 4th most rostered stack yesterday. I forget exactly what it was. And it looks like today it's going to end up being the same for me. It's not anything crazy. I have 8% A's stacks, but still, it's not a team I would typically expect to see as my 4th most rostered team. No. But why does it end up being the case? Hunter Brown is so popular that I think that drives a lot of those lineups up to the top, because in the event where Hunter Brown does not pitch a great game, some of these A's stacks are going to end up performing extremely well because, number one, nobody's going to have them, but number two, it's a mass amount of leverage on the amount of exposure to Hunter Brown. So my portfolio is way more heavy on the Hunter Brown side than it is the A's. But just based on some of my lineups here, if you guys are building out 10 lineups, I think one of them should be an Oakland A's stack. If you're building out 20 lineups, I think maybe 2 or 3 of them should be A's stacks, just because based on the ownership of Hunter Brown, he's still a go-to pitcher, but I'm getting to some Oakland here as leverage. Is that a spot that you think you're going to be at as well?
I don't have them. So that's the first time that we've had something today where we're like different. That's not the team that I'm getting that's like popping to the top. I don't really have one. Like the A's are 4.5% owned. I guess that's the Blue Jays for me, but like obviously a different salary tier there. So I don't really have that kind of version. I mean, I guess they're the Royals in this. That would be my A's, but you already have that. Yeah. I'm uploading the most recent update that I have now. I doubt I run another one, but maybe I do. So I have 48 Red Sox stacks, 32 Yankees stacks, 22 Royals stacks, and then it's 14 for the Jays, 13 for the Diamondbacks, 11 for the Padres.
All right, so you are so you are getting to at least some of the Padres against Pepio.
Apparently.
I don't think I have any.
Now I'm about to find out if I'm getting Pepio again or still, which I can't imagine that went away. I have 26% Ryan Pepio.
Out of 150 lineups, I have 1 Padres stack. And a lot of it just because of how shitty that lineup is that just came out.
Yeah, I have 10% or more of the first 4 hitters. And I don't mind that at all. Kim, Tatis, Soto, Campusano, like I'm cool. Like, it's a 3K catcher as a part of this stack, so that doesn't bother me too much. And then Garrett Cooper is filling it out. They're really cheap now. It's only Kim, Tatis, and Soto, and they deserve their price tags. Everybody else is 3K or less, and it's some clown named Ryan Pepio on the opposite side. So why couldn't the Padres be good?
I landed on 8% of Pepio, by the way. I'm fairly sure this is going to be my final set of lineups because we only got a few minutes left here. I am a little conflicted, though, about whether I want to play the Yankees or the Royals in single entry.
I mean, in this case now, I think you got to go Royals. Obviously, I understand like the thought process of wanting to go to the Yankees and where we feel about them, but they're going to lock at 7-10. At least if you're rostering the Royals, it's a team you like, and there's no threat to you at that point. The Yankees game, it's not like you could, if they were both at 740, you might have the opportunity to get off the Yankees if you wanted to, but you're then making that decision at 710. I think it's safer to go to the Royals. It's not like they're going to get steamed up or anything crazy. I think you can still make that play if you wanted to go to Kansas City.
What's the ownership right now?
Especially if you're going to be heavy on main Yankees, then I think it makes a little bit more sense to at least leave yourself an out in single entry.
Clevenger is projected for 24.4% ownership, 3rd most popular pitcher on the slate. So let's say that gets bumped to what, 30-ish%
somewhere in the entry? 30s. Yeah.
And then conversely, the Royals are projected for 8% ownership. Maybe that ends up being like 5% ownership in single entry. The Yankees are going to end up being lower on there too. I'll flip a coin. Like my 2 top projected lineups, and based on our Sims tool, like it's like a 0.3% ROI projected difference between my top 2 projected lineups.
You want to do heads, Yankees, tails, Royals?
Let's do it.
Hey Siri, flip a coin.
This is, by the way, guys, this is the really highly advanced way to build out your DFS lineups.
It said it in my ears. I don't know if you're going to be able to see that. It says it's tails.
So that's Royals.
Yeah.
All right, Royals it is. Guys, that's how you build your DFS lineups. When in doubt, flip a coin.
I thought I would have said it out loud, but I forgot that I have my AirPods and it just immediately sent it right to it.
All right. It is a Royals lineup then. Oh,
yeah.
cool.
By the way, I have way more Red Sox than the Yankees now.
Way more?
Yeah.
How much more is way more?
48 stacks to 32.
Still a lot, though, of both.
Oh, yeah. Like I have 20% aggregate Yankees, 24 of the Red Sox. I end up getting to like a lot of solo Devers, which I'm sure isn't all that surprising to hear. I don't mind it, though, just because taking a look at Clark Schmidt, if he's going to give up any power, it seems to be to lefties. 202 ISO to lefties, 177 X ISO. It's a 350 X WOBA. 5 lefties to start in the lineup for Boston, plus a 6th in Reese McGuire, which doesn't really make you feel good, but catcher part of the stack. I think it's a real tricky spot to get through that because it's all power too. Lowest projected ISO of those first 5 lefties is 163 for Verdugo. Devers is at 270 against righties. Tristan Casas 230. Abreu and Yoshida are 170 and 185. So like, if these guys can get on, if Schmidt just like doesn't have it a little bit, there's so much power potential for Boston. I don't mind being on that side of it.
Want to hear something funny, Josh?
In chat, you have that now too?
No, in chat, Chris Williams, our Apple friend, is that was it Chris?
Yeah, it is.
Oh no, it was a DFic. DFic said when you said Siri flip a coin, you turned the Siri on for his phone. I'm sure that happened for a bunch of people watching.
Good. But you know what? Just to be fun here. Hey Siri. Alexa. Okay, Google.
Yeah, you just turned all of my iPads on. everything just lit up around me. All of my technology. Turn my iPad on. It's asking me for commands.
Alexa, tell a joke. Have fun, everybody.
There you go. Josh fucking up all your technology. By the way, guys, here's something we can do to help you. Free money from Caesars Sportsbook. If you guys have not signed up at Caesars yet, this deal is only going to be around we don't have an exact end date for them, but we do know it's going away sometime in the near future. And if you haven't taken advantage of the sign-up offer at Caesars, it's just an easy way to put some money in your pocket. Because when you sign up using the link that we have below, place a $50 bet, and they're going to give you $250 in bonus bets. The way it works out is they're going to give you a $50 bonus bet per week over the next 5 weeks, which ultimately adds up to $250 in bonus bets. So it's money you don't already have in your pocket. It's a really easy way to build out your bankroll for the start of the football season here. So take advantage of the offer at Caesars because, like I said, it's only going to be here for another few days, maybe a week or something like that. We don't know. Some of these sports books are not the best at communicating what their different promotions are. All they've told us that it's going to be going away soon. So take advantage of the offer if you guys haven't already. Sign up using that link below. And if you or anybody you know has a gambling problem, call or text the number 1-800-GAMBLER. So Josh, I'm going to look through our Discord to make sure we don't have any other questions.
Sounds good.
And we do have one from Gangrene. He wants to know, what do you think about the top 4 for Arizona as a stack on single entry for DK? And then also he said, thanks for the content bidet, brother. Oh, another guy, Gangrene, who's got a bidet. Love to hear it. Spreading the good word.
I have some of the Diamondbacks, so I don't really mind it. I have 13 stacks. I'm a little bit over the 7% aggregate ownership that they have. I have no problem whatsoever getting to Arizona. I don't think that's the craziest thing in the world to do. It's Joey Lucchesi on the opposite side. Like I don't know what he's going to be now that he's back, but I'm willing to take the shot with some of this Diamondbacks power.
All right, uploading the final version of my lineups. I can't tell you to play them in single entry because it's not even a team I'm considering for single entry. So with that in mind, I'm going to say my thoughts are don't play them because that's not what I am doing. But if I go and I look at my overall exposures and some of the ownership here, At the very least, they are of the reasonable offenses that we have on the slate. They do project with the best value odds in our top stacks tool. The problem with that is what are you getting if you save money at offense today? Right? It's not like there's an abundance of pitching to pay up for. So as far as the Diamondbacks go, I have some stacks of them, nothing all that significant. I have 3% Diamondback stacks today. So in the portfolio, I'm a little bit underweight to the field to him. I got some of the hitters as one-offs. It's not my favorite stack of the day, though. So I'm going to say don't do it. I think you should play the Yankees or the Royals because those are the two teams I was considering. But there are worse options than the Diamondbacks today. Anything else you notice?
I'm excited for this slate now. So I know that Yankees Red Sox game is going to get rained out, and I'm just going to do not nice things to myself. But as I look at it, I think it's a fun slate. I like 7 gamers. This is the perfect size for me.
I'm going to agree with you as long as the game doesn't get rained out in the next 30 minutes, because this could be one where it's take the bong out and go to bed at 8 p.m. Eastern time.
I just don't want to see it get rained out at 7:09.
Yeah, that would absolutely be a pain in the ass.
Because I'd never get it out in time.
What's the lock time of that game?
10.
It is 7:10. Yeah, they're not. I mean, if they were going to cancel it ahead of time, they would have just done it.
Yeah. If this were in Washington, that might be a different story.
Yeah, they've done all kinds of goofy shit with weather. All right. I'm pulling up the latest weather report here.
If we talk about it, we don't care anymore. Alex doesn't do weather reports and shit. Roth just posted a radar report 4 minutes ago. I think we all look at the same shit, right? We're not kidding anybody any longer. There's no.
I actually go to Google.
Do you? I go straight. I go look. I go straight to the weather page on their site because it's the easiest place to get exactly what information you want. It just is it's tailor-made for what I need to see. So I go straight to it. And then, he's obviously in a list of relevant shit that I need to see for MLB DFS with lineups and stuff. So
any late alterations you're going to make to that game or still just riding with it?
No, it's this ship has sailed now. If he would have said anything that was really I officially don't like this as much, I would have signed off of this show right now and done everything that I can to X that game out and rerun it with 6. I'm not doing that. So in basically every single situation that has happened, whether it's baseball, NBA, whatever, I get this shit wrong every time. Oh, is that guy going to be in or out for basketball? Whatever I say is the opposite. If I try to bet on weather here, whatever I say is going to be the opposite. So take that for what it's worth, folks. You guys have been watching these shows with me for 5 years. I have mushed this shit in so many different ways. 100 yards and a touchdown picks. It's always a death sentence. Everything that I do in this regard is usually a major problem.
I think the game is going to play today.
I hope you're right. I don't think the world hates you as much as they hate me. So I think that if you're on it as well, that's my only saving grace. If it were just Adam and I know where this goes. And by the way, Adam's since I'll air it out, his 3 most exposed stacks: the New York Yankees, the Kansas City Royals, and the Boston Red Sox.
All right, so we're all rooting for the same shit today. Home run picks. Let's do some home run picks. We'll say what dongs we're liking for today, and then we will get out of here. As far as home runs, we'll open it up to everybody. Yeah, I'd be most inclined to pick Aaron Judge, but
what a hero!
Little bit, it'd be a little bit of a cop out. So I'm going to go with Bobby Witt Jr. He actually is the position player I have the most exposure to for the slate. He's projected for modest 14% ownership. A lot of fantasy upside for Bobby Witt Jr. in general. Power upside, speed upside. I'm picking Bobby Witt Jr. to homer today. That's my dong pick of the night. Yourself, Josh.
I hope you are right. All right. So I'm grabbing my top plays right now in homers, and then I'm going to look at what my list is showing me. For some reason, I'm not getting as many names as I thought. I can't take any of those guys. Why is it not showing me the way that I want it to show? All right, give me the top 10%, I guess. Okay, that opens it up a little bit. Give me, okay, now we've got some fun names. Okay, you took Perez, right?
No, I took Bobby Witt Jr.
Oh, okay. Maybe I'll take Perez because he's in my top 13. That's how it's sorted down.
Okay.
Give me Tristan Casas.
Tristan Casas. I don't mind that. Tristan Casas, by the way, he's in a good amount of my lineups. The other one you would have gone with, you had mentioned Salvador Perez. I also have Salvador Perez in 23% of lineups. So if you would have picked him, I wouldn't have an issue with that either. But my home run pick, Bobby Witt Jr., Josh's, he ended up going there with Tristan Casas, who has overall been on a tear in the second half of the season, amongst the league leaders in a lot of categories. WRC plus, at least for a point in time, he was first in baseball the second half of the season. Not quite the case anymore, but still going pretty well. Guys, thank you very much for watching. If you've not done yet, do us a favor. Yeah. Oh, super chat. Which super chat? What did I miss here? My bad. We had my bad. I missed that Jorge left one as well. Thoughts on Houston and Miami? I'm underweight to field on Houston. Didn't really stack up the Marlins. And then Chris Williams says, Josh, tell Sir Lumos that he was used on Harry Potter to light up his wand.
I don't understand most of that.
Oh, he said, okay. I missed. It says tell Sir Lumos. So I kind of, all right. I just
say that word and that's it. I don't know anything about Harry Potter. I got girls instead.
I pray a gigantic penis pops up on Josh's phone right now. All right, let's see what happens.
I have to do this? Okay.
Yeah, he left us money.
Hey Siri, Lumos. I just turned on the light.
All right.
Oh yeah, Lumos. So like it's light in
Harry
Latin or something.
Clever. It's a Harry Potter spell to turn on the it also turned on the light on my iPad. So it does work. It turns on the different stuff here. Chris, thank you for that information. Appreciate it. For everybody else who is watching the show, thank you for the support. If you haven't done it yet, like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Guys, have a great night. Good luck with all your lineups. See you back here tomorrow.